Conquering Manhood, Session 12.
Conquering Manhood. Command your legacy. Take action. And conquer all.
Welcome back to the Conquering Manhood podcast. I'm your host, Jose Florencio, and each week I talk to a highlighted conqueror, an entrepreneur, an author, a high-profile athlete, those who have achieved a level of success in the 5 pillars of a conquering man: health, wealth, relationship, lifestyle, and personal growth. This week's featured conqueror knows what it takes to succeed. He's a husband, a father of 5, a former starting running back for the New Orleans Saints, a firefighter, and an entrepreneur. Do you think we can learn a thing or two on how to conquer all from this conversation? I do. Let the show begin. Welcome back, Conqueror Nation, and thank you for joining us for Session 12 of the Conquering Manhood podcast. Today's featured conqueror is a former NFL running back for the New Orleans Saints, current firefighter and entrepreneur. Working with young elite athletes, he trains them to develop the habits and mindset necessary for greatness. His brand, I'mNotYou.com, speaks directly to young and the competitive who are looking to take their game to the next level. He lives in Portland, Oregon with his wife and 5 kids. He's been featured on award-winning podcasts like Entrepreneur on Fire, The Art of Charm, ESPN Radio, and today, Conquering Nation. It is my privilege to present to you Olaniyi Sobomehin.
What's good, man? How you doing?
Nee, thanks for coming on, brother.
Hey, it's good to be here, man.
I think I butchered your last name, man. Hit us up with the correct pronunciation, and let's keep it real.
You didn't do too bad, man. It's Sobomehin. So Olaniyi Sobomehin, but many people just call me Niyi Shobo. That's what I go by. So Niyi Shobo, Olaniyi Sobomehin.
Every time you say Niyi Shobo, it reminds me of like somebody who's showboating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. When I say like people at work, some people at my job actually think my name is Showboat. You know what I mean? But it's all good with me. I'm not necessarily the showboat type, but it's all good.
All right. I know for me, a lot of people would have a problem saying my last name, which is Florencio. Right. And I'm in the Marine Corps, right? So for a long time, I just went with Flo. Like, just call me.
Yeah, that's dope.
And so everybody was like, for the longest time, everybody was like, yo, Flo. And I'm like, yeah, what up?
Yep.
All right, brother. So, I mean, talking about living every man's dream. When I grew up, I want to be an NFL player. When I grow up, I want to be a fighter. I mean, do you ever step back and be like, wow, man, I didn't fit into so many people's ideas or so many people's dreams? How does that feel to you, brother?
Hey, man, it's incredibly humbling, and it's something that when you're caught in the mix of always wanting to achieve and go hard, and like a lot of men do, we want to keep achieving, like it's necessary to sometimes, daily, I find, to just sit back and like just soak in your past accomplishments, not to get the feeling of complacency, but to appreciate how far you've come, to appreciate and sort of humble yourself and remind yourself that all the future success that you really want is absolutely possible. Because at one point, I didn't know if I was going to be a NFL player. At one point, I didn't know if I was going to be a firefighter. But these dreams, these goals that I had, and at the time they were just goals, they became real. And so it's really, really important to remind myself, and not only remind myself, but remind others, like people that I know and athletes that I work with, that, yo, man, like, right now, it doesn't look possible, but it's absolutely possible. I'm telling you, and I've done it, and I can show you how. So it's really awesome, man. It gives me a lot of confidence. It provides me with a lot of energy if I'm down, and it also humbles me. So definitely.
Yeah, I think it's very important to always, begin your day or end your day with a sense of gratitude, so that you can, sometimes we entrepreneurs, we're just busy on the go, and it's always the next thing, and we never step back and enjoy the small wins, especially. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No question, man. And that's a habit when you start getting into the nuances of success. When you start getting into the next level of success, you start to develop those type of habits instead of just being, like you said, always go. You start to be a little bit more seasoned, and you're able to, on a daily basis, like you said, just reflect and then be able to go from those grateful moments and reflecting to executing, and then again going home to the wife and kids and being able to be fully present and aware with them. And so that's really a challenge, but that's the goal.
That's amazing. And I can already tell that this conversation is going to be seasoned with a whole bunch of nuggets that you're going to be dropping. And Nee, before here at Conquer Man, we love to start things off with a favorite success quote or a mantra that you tell yourself to motivate yourself or to guide you whenever you feel yourself off track. Do you have a quote or a mantra like that, Nee, that you apply to yourself, and then tell us what that is and how it impacts your life?
Yeah, definitely, man. This is a quote I recently ran across, but it really like stuck with me. It was like a slap in the face, because one of the things that plagues a lot of men is indecision. And so this quote goes like this: in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. And so it's really, really imperative. I use this to remind myself all the time when I get caught in that mode of sort of thinking too much and overanalyzing and, wondering and sort of, whether should I do this and all this language that reflects indecision. Man, just make a decision and go with it and adjust on the fly. And it kind of speaks to the athlete in me and as well, because any athlete cannot expect to have any level of success being indecisive. So it's really important to make decisions quickly and move with a sense of urgency and aggressiveness.
I love that. And you just got to hit it, speed and intensity. And, and as long as you're doing that with a sense of confidence, it's going to look like you meant to do it anyways, right?
Exactly. And the finesse will come later, So in the beginning, you might feel a little reckless and all over the place. And you kind of have to get comfortable with that feeling of sort of chaos and feeling like you're not quite sure what's going on. I've actually grown to be accustomed to that feeling, and I actually get excited now when I start something new and I have no idea what I'm doing, because I know that if I just keep pushing forward, if I keep taking action, and not just taking action, but evaluating myself ruthlessly on a daily basis, I'm going to get better. It's only a matter of time. And so it's one of the things that again, plagues athletes is like when you starting, younger athletes especially, they're starting a sport and they're too busy about looking cool and looking like they're doing the right thing. It's like, don't be afraid to mess up, man. This is practice. This is where you learn. This is your laboratory. And so life is my laboratory. So I'm going to take action. I'm going to do experiments. I'm going to evaluate. I'm going to peep game, and I'm always going to adjust. And that level of belief in myself really helps me, during those times when I feel that indecision coming on.
Absolutely. And for the Conquer Nation, I just want to highlight out there that, Nee's going to talk about his niche and his experience, which has been in the NFL, but he's also a father and a husband and an entrepreneur and a firefighter. So a lot of these things, Nee, and correct me if I'm wrong, they correlate into all of the areas of your life, and it's just the mentality that you've developed over time. That's correct.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And the sooner that any man just realizes, and this was a sort of a fork in the road for me when I made the decision that it's not, I can't just be good at one thing. I can't go hard in my sport, but not go hard as a father. You see what I'm saying? I can't go hard in my business and not go hard in my marriage. It has to be a way of life. Like mastery is the game. Mastery is the ultimate goal in any and everything that you're doing. And it doesn't stop. It's not like there's an ultimate destination. And once you kind of understand that and come to grips with it and not fight that and actually embrace that, it actually is a lot more fun and it's a lot more enjoyable. So you don't beat yourself up as often. You're able to, like you said, I could use one thing that I learned as a firefighter and apply it to myself as a father. I can use something I learned recently in my business and apply it to my journey as a husband. You see what I'm saying? And so with that level of awareness comes it's pretty beautiful once everything in your life starts flowing together. And that's when you really, truly experience the flow.
The flow. And the Conquer Nation, they want to hear it all. And so we're excited because we want to hear about you playing in the NFL. We want to hear about the demands as a firefighter. But before we get into that, can you give us a little bit of a highlight of your personal side?
Oh, definitely. Well, the thing I think that gives me the most pride, man, is my wife and kids. Like my kids are it's like jewelry on me. You know what I'm saying? Like just the most lavish diamonds that I got, just crowns on my head. I love my children. I have 5 of them. Wow. I have 3 sons, 2 daughters, and my wife, man. It's funny because I always kind of like they come to visit me at work a lot, man. And anytime that I see them running up, man, it's like it's like the best feeling in the world. So I take a lot of pride in my family and being a husband. Obviously, I'm an entrepreneur as well. I'm a full-time firefighter. And so there's really like it's everything for me. And this is a good place to be in life right now, is that everything sort of fits in. Like I can see the big picture. There's nothing in my life going on that doesn't have a purpose. And so I've become really a lot more ruthless about that, about rooting things out that don't belong. But that's sort of the picture of where I am at in life right now.
Wow, and congratulations to you on that maturity to be able to say, hey, this is what defines my lifestyle. This is what defines the plan for the future. And if it doesn't fit in this puzzle, it's garbage and it's got to go.
Exactly, man. And it's something that I wish more people would talk about. And I think the reason why a lot more people don't talk about it is because there aren't a lot of people achieving the level of success that I want, at least. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you kind of, I hear about it from certain people, just about like you have to be ruthless about who is around you, what you're listening to, what you're watching. But too many people are too liberal with that, and they give other people permission to enter their world when they really should have no business in it, man. And sometimes that includes family members, that includes, past friends and things like that. But I've grown to be a lot more comfortable with saying, you know what, if this doesn't fit into my vision, like this is like you said, it's no reason for it to be here. So it's very important.
It is important. And I think, Nee, what the problem with that is, a lot of people, and I've been a victim of it too. Until I sat down and tried to define my course for the future, I was just going on the treadmill of life and letting things happen and wasting my time on the TV or, letting things influence me that weren't part of the big game plan. And
right.
Once I set that down on paper specifically, or I vocalize these things, then that was when, the whole game changed for me. And I started this course of conquering manhood and trying to help others as well on the same journey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man. That's super dope. And that is something that every man needs to do. Every man needs to sit down with a pen and paper and map out the course of his life and identify all the things that he wants in every area of his life and in vivid detail, and come up with a plan of action to start attacking that. And that's the sooner the better, man. I guarantee, I bet you probably wish you did it like 10 years, earlier, like I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But when you do it, it's like you get a new clarity, you get a new, a renewed sense of focus and energy about yourself, and you find yourself needing to rely on, useless vices that not needing to rely on useless vices that you used to, and it's a beautiful feeling once you get that.
Man, so Nee, you're our featured conqueror, so we want to learn from you. And man, you're an entrepreneur, a firefighter, you have a wife and 5 kids. How do you balance it all?
Man, it's tough, man. And I wouldn't even say that I balance it. It's more like a counterbalance. Like I'm just running back and forth, making sure, it's almost like a chef in the kitchen, I imagine. He's got a bunch of different, pots boiling, and he's got to make sure this isn't burning. So you kind of have to let go of this idea of perfection and more aim for, progress, improvement. You see what I'm saying? And so it's really, really tough. I'm not going to lie, man. It's tough because I'm gone every third day. I got my business that I'm running. I'm a young firefighter, so it's not like I can just sit back and relax. I'm still training and still learning how to be the best firefighter I can be. And then I got my business, of course, and 5 children, and 2 of my children are with another woman. So it's hard to balance that as well. And so it's really, again, it comes to the best thing for me is just having habits that I could rely on. And that includes waking up in the morning and have I call it my morning mastery routine. I have a set of core habits that I make sure that I get done every day. And I have a system for how to evaluate those and making sure I'm staying true to those. Like even things as simple as, going on a date night with my wife every week without fail. It's like this, it's the first thing that I schedule in my week. I have to make sure that I do that. And so it really comes, again, man, to just making sure you understand what you want in every category of life and ruthlessly rooting things out. Because the more things you can root out, the more clarity you have in terms of, being able to spend time with your kids, making sure you're doing that, making sure I'm spending time with my wife, making sure I'm on point at work because I can't get caught slipping at work. You know what I'm saying? And making sure, of course, I'm doing my thing in my business as well. So it's tough, but I'd have to say habits, man, having a core set of habits and having a system for for tracking those and making sure that you're doing them and holding yourself accountable.
This is interesting stuff, Nishobo. So can you give us a quick little rundown on this habit and how you can keep focus on whatever your morning ritual is? What do you call it, your morning mastery ritual? Or?
Yeah, morning mastery. And so I actually have a journal. It's called the Blueprint, and it's a custom journal that I designed for me and my athletes. It's extremely effective, but it's a way for me to pretty much organize my goals on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. So I print a new one every month, and it literally has it's like the master plan for my life. And so in this journal, like I record my progress. In the morning, I write my goals down, identify what I'm grateful for, identify the top things I need to do that day, or the top results that I need to accomplish that day, and the top actions I need to take in order to accomplish those results. And then I have another, in the nighttime, I also come back and do what I call ruthless self-evaluation, where I basically evaluate myself and see, how did I do? Did I complete my task? If I didn't, why didn't I? Did I complete my set of habits that I'm supposed to do every single day? And that includes meditating, drinking my green smoothie, getting my workout in, all these little things that I have to do every day that keep me on point, that keep me, sort of balanced and my emotional state right. And so that's just like a little sample of it. I also take cold showers in the morning, make sure I get up and sort of keeps me awake, and it's really a shock to my day. I have a sort of ritual that I call prime time, which is incredibly effective. It's basically the fastest way to just feel confident on command. And I do this several times throughout the day. It's so easy now. I can literally snap my finger and feel that feeling I want to feel. And it's again a ritual that I teach my athletes how to do. It's extremely powerful. And so that's sort of an example of some of the collection of habits that I have and how I go about tracking them every day, morning and night. And that it's about an hour out of my day when you add it up. But the value of it is, I can't even tell you how incredibly valuable it is. Some days I don't want to do it, but every time I do it, it's like money in the bank.
And so you wake up earlier in the day to be able to accomplish this so that you can correct your life the way you want it, right?
Exactly. So 5 a.m. is my wake up time. Now, I don't always get up at that time, but that's always the goal. Some days I have crazy nights at work where I'm up 5 or 6 times. So, some days I might have been up extremely late the night before. But it's important to not ever allow any of your circumstances. So that means any situations or events surrounding your life to dictate your results if you don't if you don't want it to. And so for me, one of the things early as an entrepreneur, I'm like, oh, well, it's hard to get up early. And, I got my kids. I can't do all the work that I want to do. Well, get up earlier then. You know what I'm saying? Get up earlier. Nothing's stopping me from getting up early. Now, if I'm not getting up early, go to sleep earlier. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Get more done. Work on concentration. So block things out when you're working. And so I like to go by this rule. So what are your goals, right? And then the challenges that come up is, what are my goals asking me to become? So if you have the goal, of starting a business or improving, let's go with improving your relationship with your wife, right? If you have the goal of improving your relationship with your wife, but you find that you guys are, arguing, or she's saying that you're not, giving her enough affection, then that means that your goals are asking you to become something different than what you are now. So that doesn't mean you blame your wife and say, oh, I can never make you happy, or you always tripping about this. No, your goal it's telling you, it's like, hey, listen, you want that goal, so you need to become more of this. You need to become more patient. You need to become more loving. And this is something, man, literally, I just had to remind myself of this last night, man, because there's challenges come up, man, and that's why it's a goal. That's the whole idea of a goal. It's a challenge. It's something you don't have yet. So for you to think that you're just going to set a goal and it's going to come easy is ridiculous, and it's foolish. So when a challenge comes up, you should be excited. It's like, yo, this is a signal telling me this is what you have to do in order to accomplish a goal. So if you have a business and you're not seeing the results that you want, then whatever results you're not seeing, it's telling you that you need to do something different. It's giving you the answers to the test. But many times we ignore it because we have low confidence and low self-esteem. And every time we don't get a result, then that means we can't do it, or that means that we don't have it, or that means that we're not good enough. Nah, that just means you're not employing the right strategy, or you don't have the proper mindset. Okay, so I believe with the right strategy and the right mindset, anything is possible. I don't care what it is. It's possible if you have the right mindset, if you have the right strategy, because I believe the mindset leads to every action that you take. So if you have the right mindset and have the right strategy, you absolutely can achieve whatever goal you want.
That's powerful stuff. So, if you're asking to be courageous, you're not going to all of a sudden, your goals are to be courageous. You're not going to be strong or strong-willed on situations. You're going to get opportunities to be courageous, and that's where you got to fill the bill.
Exactly. And if your goal is to be courageous, that means opportunities are going to show up that scare the living hell out of you. You see what I'm saying? Because being courageous means acting in spite of fear. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to have fear. It means that you're going to be scared, but you need to take action anyway. So if you have the goal of being courageous and a situation comes up and you're scared and you run from it, then that's your goal obviously doesn't mean a lot to you, and you lack self-awareness. But if courageous is being your goal, you should be excited when an opportunity comes up and your heart starts beating fast and you start getting anxious and you start getting sweaty, because that's the exact situation and the exact thing you need to master then. And that's what you need to go to work on.
And then in Nishobo's words, it's prime time at that point in time.
Exactly. It's prime time.
All right. So, Nee, I'd love to kick it into your NFL time. And I know, what was it, 2008, the year of the Super Bowl, right, that you had to depart?
Yep.
2009, right? Can you talk about how you were able to overcome an emotional downfall like that, of the magnitude of forced retirement from a Super Bowl champion team, and then some life hacks that you probably, came about to be able to break through?
Definitely, man. Like, if anyone could imagine, just imagine being let go. Like, it's my dream job. So anyone who has everyone probably has a dream job. For me, it was the NFL, and I got my shot. I was at the highest stage. I was starting, got injured 2 years in a row, injuries, and then ultimately released, only to watch them win the Super Bowl. 3 months later, it was incredibly tough for me to watch. It was a sort of cocktail of emotions, but I would say that the strongest ones were saltiness and sort of just resentment. I was definitely proud of the guys, man, but I was salty. I was like, man, I deserve a ring. I was there, and so I was hurt, man. But I spent 3 years, or no, about two and some change, 2 years and some change, just really, really just in a mild state of depression, just indecisive, wandering. Well, should I do this? And I don't know if I should do this. A lot of I don't knows, and I don't know if I could do this and that. Until I finally just made a choice, man, that I was gonna go after something different, and I made a choice. And so for me, the biggest life hack, and like I said earlier, man, practice the art of making decisions quickly. So make a decision quick and feel good about it and expect it to go your way. It will not always go your way. And when it doesn't, all you have now is valuable information to apply to the next decision. So all you do is compound your decision-making process and you sharpen your instincts through making decisions, not by thinking all the time. You don't sharpen instincts by thinking. You have to take action. And so for me, when I got really clear on what I wanted, and that's another life hack, decide exactly what you want. So get really clear on what you want and then take action. I had a lot more clarity. I had a lot more focus. I got myself a mentor. That's incredibly important. Find yourself a model, someone who's done what you're trying to do, and follow their lead. Don't try to do it on your own. Although I am a big advocate of taking action and being decisive, I don't suggest you take action recklessly without, thought at all. So if you can find someone who's done what you're trying to do, then find them and follow them. And so it was a really tough time, man. But ultimately, I learned so much through it. Patience was a quality that I had to really embody during that time, and it was really, really tough. Just being patient and knowing that the goal I was going after is not something that's going to just be handed to me and it's easy to get. It was tough, and at this point, it was becoming a firefighter. And I knew what I wanted, man. I decided I wanted to be a firefighter in January, right? And I didn't have any experience whatsoever. And I told my wife, I was like, yo, I'm going to get hired by December. And this is Christmas, right? So about a year. Now, everybody in my EMT class, everyone who I told thought I was crazy. I didn't even tell my mentor that was my goal, because he would have been like, yo, you're crazy. And so, but I didn't care, because I started to become aware of the game of success. Like, my mentor was putting me up on game, and it's like, yo, like, all you got to do really is decide what you want and then go after it and adjust along the way. Don't always worry about the how, because too many people worry about, oh, well, how is this going to happen? I don't have this. Don't worry about that yet. What you need to worry about is what you want and why you want it, and create those feelings of urgency about yourself. And when the pathways open, then you take action, and the pathways open up, man. Like it was just incredible, man. And I actually got hired in September. You know what I'm saying? I got hired in September, and I was number 2 on the list out of 14 guys. I didn't have any experience. And to this day, man, it's an example that if you absolutely know what you want and you're willing to take the action necessary to get it, and you follow certain rules of success, miracles can happen. I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to get it as fast as I did, or every goal that I've set hasn't always worked out like that. But this particular goal, me becoming a firefighter, was a great example of that. And having a mentor, again, was a really, really big part of that, because I was able to have someone that believed in me outside of myself and was able to show me things that I couldn't see on my own.
And I think that's a big thing and a large takeaway for the Conqueror Nation that I want them to hone in on. And I'll also caveat off of that by saying that everything that I ever wanted to do in life, as long as I set out to do it and not even knowing how to do it, just like you need, it just, I just went forward, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But, as the obstacles came about, then I just figured it out along the way. Either it was with help by others, reading or imitating somebody else. But they came about, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is just like they see those obstacles on the forefront, and they don't take action because they're like, well, I don't know this.
Exactly, man. And it's at the root of it is fear. And so I believe that all your beliefs lead to how you feel, emotions, right? And emotions lead to actions. Actions lead to results. So if you don't have a result, you have a belief there. And so if you're not taking action, so for example, there was a time young in my entrepreneur career where I wasn't doing certain things, and maybe you can relate. I wasn't doing certain things because I was like, well, what if that doesn't work? And if I do it and it doesn't work, then that's a waste of time. But what that really is a lack. It's a fear. It's fear. It's fear of failure, right? Because I'm basically saying if I do it and it doesn't work, then that means I failed. But all you have to do is change what you believe about failure. And so I changed what I believe about failure. And so now I believe as long as I take action and I learn from it and I continue to adjust according to what I want, then it's a win. So now I feel like I can't lose. So even if I take some action that doesn't work out how I wanted it to work out, I still feel like I won, because now I have valuable information to guide me even further towards what I want. And so as long as you're breathing, like there's still a chance for you to get what you want. So it's almost like a football player, a quarterback, let's say. A quarterback throws an incompletion. He's not going to the sidelines crying about it because he didn't lose the game yet. He only threw an incompletion. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's still a chance for you to win the game. Just because you threw one incompletion doesn't mean you can't complete the next one. Let's say you threw 10 incompletions in a row. You're still in the game. I don't care if you're down by 2 touchdowns. That's two possessions. So 2 passes, you right in the game. You tied up. You see what I'm saying? That's
a great metaphor.
Yeah, so if you look at it like that, it's like you can't lose. As long as you're alive, as long as you're still breathing, there's still a chance for you to accomplish whatever goal that you set out. And so every action that you take will only add to your wealth of knowledge, your experience, your wisdom, and it will just only further just mature you into the man that you ultimately need to be in order to reach your goal.
And whatever side hustle you might be working on now might not be what's in your life plan, 10 years from now, but you can take those experiences and push them off to the next goal as well.
Right. And then that eliminates the feeling of regret that a lot of people have, or like, oh man, I wish I would have done that. I was wasting all the time. No, you wasn't wasting. You might have been wasting time, but you actually, if you learn something from it, it's valuable information. Anybody who's ever gone through something really, really tough, anyone who's actually came out of that situation and gained success after, they're always thankful for every bit of, tribulation or trials that they went through. They're thankful for, so-called challenges and obstacles, because they actually prepared them for exactly where they are today. Powerful
stuff. Man, so you mentioned, the power of mentors and just being around those who you're trying to emulate. I mean, your time in the NFL, you were around athletes like, Drew Brees and Coach Payton.
Right.
And so many more of the likes in yourself. But what commonalities about them did you notice that helped them to become elite conquerors and someone to the point where you can now say, I'm not you?
That's a great question, man. I think first is clarity of vision. So one thing that always stood out to me about both Sean Payton and Drew Brees was they were always, especially Sean Payton, every objective was always made very, very clear. There was no question about what we were trying to accomplish. And that goes from the beginning of the season to when you step foot, back in camp. The goal is made very clear. Our goal is to win the Super Bowl, to the goals of every day in practice, to the goal of, this week when we're playing the New England Patriots, to, the playoff game. At every step of the way, goals were always made very, very clear. And that to me is really, really important. And anybody looking to emulate anyone, who is successful knows that you have to be very clear on what you want. So haziness and sort of not knowing and being unsure, uncertainty is not a quality of a great leader. They're always very certain, very confident. And so going to Drew Brees was just, the dude's diligence and attention to detail is second to none. And so he was absolutely committed, all in, to doing whatever was necessary to make himself a better player so as to win a Super Bowl for the New Orleans Saints. And that's what he got. And so an example of that is when I was a rookie, it was me and all the rookie guys. And so we're young guys. I'm a rookie free agent at the time. I'm not a high profile guy. I didn't get picked up in the draft. I was picked up as a free agent. And so he's out there running with us. He's out there throwing routes while everybody's back home. This is in the summertime when everybody's back home. The rookies are there. He's out running with us. Every practice, he's doing a certain set of footwork drills. He's always the last one to leave the practice field and the first one on the practice field. He's throwing extra routes after. I always remember this too. So he would throw in practice. He would throw the quarterbacks have a progression. So that means they have first, second, and third options of who they're going to throw to. So in practice, if he threw to the first option, he would always go through the motions of throwing to the second and third option. And I was just like really blown away by that. And he would do it diligently, man. Every single time he would go through those motions. And that's why he's only 6'1", but he's still one of the best passers in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and ultimately will be in the Hall of Fame because it's not his physical talent. When you see him, he's not the type of guy you would look at and say, "Oh man, he must be a NFL quarterback." He looks like a regular guy, but it was his attention to detail, his diligence, his focus, his commitment, his concentration. Sean Payton. One thing I always liked about him and respected as well is he was very much a player's coach, and so. For me, that means how anyone can sort of. So he was very interested in his team and every member on his team. So everyone was important to him. So even from the lowest guy on the roster to the training staff to his coaches, he would always make sure everybody was good, and he would talk to you. He knew about your wife, your kids. I remember I had my kid, during my first season, and he paid for my flight. He had the team pay for my flight to go back home and come back. I actually missed one day of practice, and he okayed it, man. He was very hands-on with his team. And so for anybody as an entrepreneur or, in your family, it means you give max energy to everyone. You don't sort of pick and choose who you want to, show love to and sort of make feel important.
I like that.
I think that was a really good leadership quality that Sean Payton showed.
And those are the things that make these individuals great are the things that we don't see, because we see them shine on Sunday.
Right.
But it's that work ethic that they're putting in behind scenes that so many, it's because it's easy. It's simple. Everybody knows what it takes, but are you willing to do it?
Exactly, man. Exactly. And I always like to tell my athletes that, man, it's like success isn't really that complicated, but it doesn't always mean it's easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's rocket science. I like Eric Thomas, one of the guys I follow. He always says, man, you could go to any bookstore and figure out, what it takes to be successful. But most people, like you said, just don't do it. They don't apply it. They don't have the discipline. They don't have the courage. They don't have the mental fortitude and stamina to endure all the challenges and sort of obstacles that come along the way.
That's the truth. The stamina. That stamina is going to get everybody.
Yep.
So, Nishobo, I want to know because, a lot of times I hear, you hear people talk about football players and it's like, hey, we're going to war, we're going to battle. And you can relate to that because, firsthand you've been there. But then you're currently a firefighter, and that takes in my mind, a much larger degree of commitment and courage. This is life and death.
Right.
And so how do you feel about that now on the flip side when now you're actually putting your life on the line compared to that analogy where people say, I'm a ball player and I'm going to battle and this is the battleground.
Right. I know some people have a problem with that. I never have had a problem with that, and I still don't, because football to me, I mean, number one, it's an analogy, and second, football is an extremely dangerous sport. So, I mean, there is a lot you're putting at risk as well. But I think that, when I became a firefighter, it was like, number one, I didn't have any experience, so it like made me appreciate the process of mastery all over again, because I kind of took for granted that I had played football like damn near my whole life. So going to camp every summer wasn't necessarily like I was learning a whole new skill. No, I got better, but it wasn't like I was being reintroduced to a whole new thing. But when you talk about, man, like you said, life or death, like you going into burning buildings, like you can't afford to be lax on training, man. So training, like it like added a whole new sense of urgency to all the training that we were doing, man, and how important it is. And this concept of brotherhood, man, it's like you're going in somewhere and you absolutely need that guy next to you to be on point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you mess up, one of us might not get out of here. And I got a family to go back home to. You feel what I'm saying? So it kind of like gave me an appreciation for, paying attention to detail, training, like being able to trust and rely on people and developing those relationships. Going through academy, fire academy was actually harder than anything I'd ever done in football, to be honest. Like it was physically and mentally the most challenging thing I've ever done. I mean, we're talking about, climbing 100-foot ladders, and I ain't never stepped foot on a ladder. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about stepping into, going into burning buildings when I'd never been that close to fire other than a candle. You see what I'm saying? So, but ultimately, like what got me through is really just, number one, just focusing every day and paying attention to what I was learning in terms of approaching training with a sense of urgency. But it was really just focusing like mentally, like the habit of meditating. I got into the habit of meditating when I started as a firefighter because it was important, man. My blood pressure shot through the roof. It was like dangerous, like it's stressful. But again, even just seeing just being in those emergency situations, just over time, just kind of like gives you you just get experience just by going through it. And now it's like certain I'm not nearly as stressed about like regular everyday situations. I'm like, man, this is not something to be stressed out about. You know what I'm saying? Like
you got a new perspective on what stress is.
Exactly, a whole new perspective, man. I'm like, so life is too short for me to be sitting up here crying about this or that, some little junk. So when you see the stuff that I see on a daily basis at work, man, it's like, it just makes me appreciate how short life is and just how important it is to really go after what you want.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, tell me, we admire athletes because of their can-do ability to get things done and to go out there and do what, 1% of the population or probably less can accomplish. What about being an NFL player helped you or still does with, is there a different type of mind prep when you're about to go into, a burning building, for instance, than there was with the NFL?
Definitely, man. Like, I think it's a similar mindset. It's having that game time type of mentality. And it's almost like you approach the fire like it's an opponent. It's like, I'm not about to let nothing beat me. You see what I'm saying? So number one, being confident from your training. And so that's the most important thing. So knowing that I'm trained up, knowing that I've went hard when it came time to practice. And so now when it's actually time to do it, like it's easy. And then just sort of a positive expectation, like a belief that things are going to work out for you. I can't express how important that is. So as an athlete, it's like every week, if you're a football player, you're going up against a very, very tough opponent. And if you don't believe that you deserve to win, you absolutely will not win. It's just that simple. So it's like somebody's got to win, and you've got to believe that you're going to be the one to win. And so that attitude that athletes have, that like I'm not you type of mentality, that, okay, like that might be hard for you, but I'm about to win in this situation. Like I'm not you, I'm an outlier. I'm the exception to the rule. And so that type of belief really helps me when I get in really tough situations, because honestly, I just expect to win. Like I expect things to go my way. They don't always go my way, but that expectation just gives me a different type of confidence and certainty about what I'm doing, and I can move aggressively and not sort of overthink, because that's another thing that'll get you in trouble, being indecisive when it comes time in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You're not always going to make the best decision, but did you get it done though? You know what I'm saying? Did you get it done or not? And if you didn't, then next time you had better get it done. And so that making decisions and being decisive just only sharpens your instincts. So there's definitely a correlation there.
Okay, so you mentioned your personal brand there of the I'm Not You. Can you give us a little bit more about that and the mind frame behind that, and then even how you came about with that name? Because I'm sure that name probably rubs people wrong. People take it the wrong way.
Oh, definitely, man. So like when I came back from playing ball, I wanted to stay around the game, and I helped coach at a local high school, and I met these young athletes, and I realized that they had more talent than me. They had more potential, more promise, but they didn't understand what it would take in order to get to the league, in order to take their game to the next level, like all of them do. All of them want to go to the NFL. All of them want to, play at the next level and get that scholarship. And all of them can, right? They all have the potential, but they just didn't have the mindset or the strategies necessary to do it. And so that's ultimately where I'm Not You was born. So what I'm Not You means is that I'm Not You is the mindset that anyone must have if they are going to accomplish anything worthwhile. So I don't work with athletes who just want to be good in their sport. I don't work with athletes who are just playing just to have fun. I work with athletes who want to dominate, who want to go pro, who want to go to the NFL, NBA, go to the Olympics, and beyond. So if you want to do that, your mindset has got to be one that says, I'm not you. And that means that when it's like, I don't quit. When you quit, I re-up. I keep going. Persistence, focus. So I'm the outlier. I'm the exception to the rule. People are saying, 97% of businesses fail. Man, anyone who's ever made it, don't listen to those statistics.
Yeah.
Because they believe they're the 3%. So if you're identifying with a 97%, you might as well just die right now. Because, I mean, you could look at all like I got guys who I love to hear them say like, I had this dude, he was talking about, you're guaranteed, like every man is guaranteed to have prostate cancer. I'm like, okay, I don't know where you heard that. I don't know how, but I'm not gonna have prostate cancer. So I don't have plans of having prostate cancer. So I'm Not You is just saying like I'm different than you. Like I'm willing to do things that you're not. You see what I'm saying? I have a different mindset than you. That I take different actions than you. And I'm aiming for higher results than you. Most people aren't aiming for high results. Most people are scared. Most people lack courage. Most people lack faith. Most people aren't able to have faith in things that they can't see yet. But I'm Not You says that, man, I know what I want, and I'm only going after what I want. That's it. And so I am a small percentage. I represent a small percentage of this population. And so that was the mindset that's got me anything good that I have in my life. Anything good that I've ever got in my life, any accomplishment, any success, is because of that mindset. Anytime I've failed, anytime I've fell short or given up on something, is because I haven't embodied that mindset. And so this is a mindset that it's my goal to instill in the athletes that I work with and sort of raise the level of expectation and belief in athletes around the world, man, because people are not even coming close to what they can achieve. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you identify with the I'm Not You type of attitude, you will have more energy, more stamina, more persistence, more strength to endure the inevitable challenges that come along with success. Like, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. That's why people work at regular jobs. It's not easy. Like, you have to put yourself on the line. You got to take incredible risk. But the people who endure, the people who actually are able to go through those long, dry stretches, like when you ain't getting no love, you done put yourself out there, you done tried this and tried that, you ain't getting no love. Most people quit. But the ones who succeed, they have the attitude, I'm not you.
And I love that because, like you mentioned before, with the junior athletes that you were coming about when you left the NFL, you saw that they had the potential. But what they lacked was that power mindset, that cockiness in a positive way, that
right.
that I'm not you mentality, that you can go out there and basically it's just your beliefs, like your beliefs influence your actions influence your results. And, it's like a physiology of the mind, and so many people think it's simple in theory, but they fail to realize how powerful commanding your thoughts really is,
Exactly, man. And that's where it's like, you actually have so much more control than you even realize, right? And so where I come in is I bridge the gap between talking about these things in theory and actually what does it look like to actually do it? Like,
Yes.
how do you train this mindset in an athlete? Like, how do you develop an absolute killer, predator, just monster, beast type mentality in an athlete? And that is what I've been doing. And that's what I'm committed to doing and setting up these systems and strategies, man. It's incredible. You know what I'm saying? It's credible watching a kid who, when I first start working with him, he's all timid and shy. And I ask him what he wants. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know. I guess it would be cool. And then by the time after about a couple weeks working with me, he's like, yo, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I know for sure I can get here. And this is what I believe about myself. And just watching the confidence shift, because the confidence is so tangible. It's so necessary. Like, it's a missing link. Like, your level of belief in yourself has to be so high. And that's one of the reasons why I love hip hop, man, because the whole culture of hip hop embodies that mindset. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you're gonna be an artist, like a hip hop artist, like, you absolutely have to have that mindset, because there's too many rappers out there. Like, you if you're gonna stand out, you have to believe that you're different, like that your bars are better than the next man's. Like, you have to. It's a jungle. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be a predator, you gotta be willing to act like a predator, walk like a predator, like behave in that way and feel that way, so that you can actually get through all those challenges.
I think, this whole mindset conversation reminds me of one of my favorite books, and the author, James Allen. Yeah, I forget. I don't know when the book was written, but it's he's like the grandfather of self-mastery. As a Man Thinketh. And he says, all that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is a direct result of his own thoughts. And like, when you sit back and you think about that, man, it's like, wow, you gotta make it happen on your own.
Right. And it's funny, man. I actually got the real, two questions that you can ask yourself to figure out what beliefs are holding you back. So you ask yourself, what result am I not getting, right? So think of a result in your life that you're not getting right now, that you don't have, that you want. Something that you really want, but you don't have it, whether that's a good relationship with your wife, whether that's the body that you want, the energy that you want, the money. And then ask yourself this question: why don't I have it? And when you answer that question, and you answer honestly, like, don't try to say like what you think you need to say. Actually say, why don't you have it? You will find all the reasons why you don't have what you want right there. Because chances are, let's say if you don't have a good relationship with your wife, you'll say, oh, well, I don't have enough time. Oh, well, she always tripping about this. Oh, well, I can never make her happy because she always doing this. Those beliefs right there are the things that are holding you back right there. That's the reason you don't have what you have. So instead of believing those things, you need to believe the result that I want is absolutely possible. And it's up to me to get it. My wife needs me to be more patient, more loving with her, more understanding. It's not her fault. It's my fault. If you have those beliefs, hey, how would you're going to feel empowered. You're going to feel confident about your ability to do something about it. You're going to take different action, because all the people who complain and whine about the circumstance, all that time they're spending complaining and whining is time that they're not spending taking action towards what they want.
And as the man, you are responsible for taking that leadership, bro, and to go out there. And, if the situation isn't right with your wife or with any other relationship, it's your responsibility to lead and to say, just like you said, why isn't it this way? What can I do to make it right?
Exactly, man. And it's so easier said than done. I hope I'm not coming across too preachy. I'm telling you, this is real life stuff I'm dealing with, bro. It's not easy, man, being a father of 5 and a husband and trying to do the things that I'm trying to do. But I absolutely am committed to making it work. And it's tough, man, but it requires me to be able to identify what's holding me back, man. What are the beliefs what am I believing, to be true about my situation that's hindering my ability to take effective action? There's always something else you could be doing to better your situation. And it's if you're focused on anything else other than that, then you're wasting time. You're leaving money on the table, you're wasting time.
Now, you know what, Nisha? Well, I'm glad you're bringing this conversation up, because I know these things, but sometimes, I need to hear a reminder of them as well.
Right,
and so you have to take command of your legacy and go out there and do the work that it requires.
Right, man. And I can't express, I want everyone to start looking at life like this, right? Some people get burnt out and sort of get tired. I want you to start looking at every day like it's the only day, like it's the start of a fresh clock. And then when you lay your head at night, that's the end of the clock. So approach every day like this is the only thing that matters right now, just day at a time. And that way you'll actually be focused on the things that actually matter. And so that means renewing your commitment to your goals every day. Every day, even Sunday, even when you're watching football with the homies, even when you're on vacation, even when, every day, renew your commitment. So that means renewing your responsibility to yourself, to your goals, towards your vision, towards everything it is that you want. Because if you let days go by, like I said, man, that is precious, valuable money is being left on the table that you're stealing from yourself, you're stealing from your family, you're stealing from your fam, like everything. You're doing everyone a disservice by not doing that.
Powerful stuff. Nishobo, I want to go into what I call the man up round. But before we do, let's thank our sponsors. This session is brought to you by Body of a Conqueror, the definitive guide to building muscle and strength. I discovered what it really takes to reliably build muscles and rapidly increase your strength. And it's different from anything you've done before. Go ahead and check that out at conquermanhood.com/BOC. Conquer Manhood and all my other sites are hosted through inmotionhosting.com. If you want 38% off your web hosting plan plus a free domain name, check out conquermanhood.com/hosting to get that deal plus a bonus material from me. Now, back to the show. Nee, first question in the man up round, and you can go either way here, your choice, but NFL or Firefighter, let's hear your proudest man moment.
My proudest man moment, man, it's got to be 2008, man, when I ran through the tunnel as a starter for the New Orleans Saints against the San Francisco 49ers, man. I still remember that very, very vividly. It was literally a vision of mine that I had, and then to actually see it happen, like be in it and run out the tunnel, hear that crowd, feel the goosebumps on my arm, man, see those cheerleaders bobbing those little, pom-poms. Man, I was sprinting out that joint, man. I was so excited. That to this day, man, I still get chills just talking about it and thinking about it. That's absolutely one of my proudest moments.
That's amazing, man. I can't even imagine, or I can, but that's amazing, man. Awesome. What was holding you back from being the man that you are today?
I think not really a lack of knowledge, number one. So a lack of knowledge, lack of any true guidance in terms of like a mentor and a coach, and lack of taking responsibility for my life. I don't think it wasn't until just recently that I actually realized like how critical and how important it is to take 100% responsibility, not just of your actions, but of your results. So that means if you're not getting a result, then that means like you're responsible for it. And I think that was what was holding me back, man. It was too much indecision and not knowing and being sort of unsure about myself. And that came from lack of knowledge, lack of any sort of real guidance and mentorship, and just not taking responsibility.
And there's no excuse, because really it's never too late. I myself was, because of just the way I grew up and was always shining on everything that I wanted to do. But it wasn't until, recently, two years ago, until I hit over 30, that I was like, yo, I need to go bigger. My dreams need to get bigger. My vision needs to get bigger.
Exactly.
And that's when I started going on this path.
That's dope, man.
All right. So, failure being the path of least resistance, Nee, what's your philosophy on failure and getting outside your comfort zone, your comfort zone?
That's a great question, man. Like, I suggest everyone do this, like define what failure means to you. And so before, what failure meant to me, like failure basically meant that I tried something and it didn't work out how I wanted, right? And that's sort of what most people think of failure. But to me, failure, the only way that you can fail is if you give up on what you want. Like if you relent on what you want. So that means if like you have a goal and it's hard for you to get, and you try, and then you give up on that goal just because it's hard and you actually really want it, that's failure to me. So I don't like failure, and no one should like failure. So all you got to do is change your definition of it. So that means instead of thinking just because you tried something, it didn't work out, like the only way I can fail, man, is if I give up, if I stop. So now if I try some junk, it don't work out, I'm like, I'm good, man. I didn't fail yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm still in the game. So.
And that's awesome. That's an awesome way to look at it. You got to fail forward. I like that.
Yep.
Most influential book you read and why?
Man, that's a tough one. It's a lot of books that have had an incredible impact on me. I think Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. That was a game changer for me, because that was really when I really started to really grasp this idea that you have control over how you feel at any given moment. And that was when I really learned that. And I'm like, yo, so you're telling me I don't have to feel, uncertain, or I don't have to lack confidence just because my circumstances are this and that. And Tony Robbins is big on that, man. And I've read pretty much all his books. His audio programs are incredible. But Unlimited Power for me was a game changer.
Unlimited Power, that's an excellent book. Conquer Nation. You got to get out there and get Nee's influential book or one like it for free at audiobooks.com/conquer. What's your strategy, Nee, on how you self-talk yourself or coach yourself to overcome and get the desires, the results that you want?
That's a great question. I think that number one is understanding the role of your self-talk. So that means understanding what you say to yourself on, constantly throughout the day is absolutely impacting how you feel and what you do. And so to me, man, me personally, I get real aggressive with mine, because I find that the results that I want are pretty ambitious, man. And so I don't be like, it's okay, you can do this. I like to talk to myself pretty powerfully. So I get really aggressive with what I tell myself. And one of the ways I do that is I record my affirmations and my beliefs over hip hop instrumentals, and I listen to them. I play them in the car. I listen to them on my iPod. I listen to them when I'm in the shower. My kids know them. I play them when we're cleaning up, when we just hanging around the house. And so I take my self-talk very, very seriously. It's one of the ways that I condition myself for the success that I want. And so it's kind of monitoring it as well. So kind of monitoring and understanding when that self-talk can start to get a little negative. And now I know those times. I've documented those times, and so I can snip it. I can nip it in the bud when it happens. You see what I'm saying? And so I have sort of triggers for me that get me sort of talking negative. And just knowing when those are is awareness enough to make me be able to do something about it when it shows up.
That's powerful stuff. I've never heard anybody drop a beat and lace their self-talk like that. What do you freestyle to it or?
Nah, man. So it's funny because I love hip hop, like I said. And so in another life, I would be a rapper, but that's not a talent of mine, or that's not something I'm willing to, take further in that way. But I just love hip hop. I don't rap over it, but I definitely add some flavor to it. I pretty much just speak, pretty powerfully. And it's similar to how I'm speaking right now, my affirmations over dope hip hop instrumentals.
I like it. I'm gonna have to steal that one from you, man.
Definitely.
So, Nee, this is the last question in the man up round, but it's a question that I ask all my featured conqueror, and that is, what is your definition of a conquering man?
Man, a conquering man is somebody who aggressively acts in pursuit of everything that they want. So I'm talking about defining to a T exactly what success means for them in every area of their life, not leaving anything to chance and only aggressively going after that, relentlessly like a predator. To me, a conquering man is a lion in the jungle. It's not a hyena, not, a snake, not, a giraffe. It's a lion, man. You're the king of the jungle. And there's not many of them out there. And it's a mindset. You have to realize, man, life is a jungle, man. And it's nothing's going to be handed to you. Life is none of your results are just going to pop up. You have to go out there and get it. You have to earn it, man. And so to me, that's what a conquering man is. It's a predator, somebody who aggressively goes after what they want.
Whew. Well, you got me fired up over here in the show, bro. Man, it's been a privilege, brother, to have you on as our featured conqueror. I know this session is going to have a huge impact on the Conqueror Nation. Before we say goodbye, let us know how we can link up with you, find out more about your training, and if you have any parting words, please hook us up.
Definitely, man. You can find me at I'mNotYou.com. You can find me on Twitter at Olaniyi Sobo, NIYISOBO. That's the same name I have on Instagram as well. And if you go to I'mNotYou.com/manhood, I actually put together a cool little PDF. It's basically 10 signals, 10 signs that you're not being a man. And so this is really critical. When I came up with these, it was because I was I was acting in a lot of ways and saying different things that I was like, yo, that's not really, you're not doing your thing right now, man. And I was able to identify what those 10 things were, and now they serve as signals for me. So I want every man out there to go to I'mNotYou.com/manhood and download this PDF and print it and put it in your bathroom, put it on your phone, put it somewhere where you can see it every day to remind yourself of when you're getting off track. and it has a little signal, a signal of what you need to do once you do get off track. So to me, it's been a pretty powerful tool for me, and I use it with my athletes as well. But it's the 10 ways to know, 10 signals to know that you're not acting like a man.
Man, thanks a lot, man. Conqueror Nation is going to benefit from that. I think the tone of the conversation was clarity, aggressiveness, and being relentless in your actions. And so the 10 ways to know that you're not acting like a man is going to be a powerful piece of gear for those out there in the Conqueror Nation. Nishobo, man, thanks for coming on, brother. When I make my way through Portland, I'm going to have to hit you up.
Definitely,
and, thanks for coming on, brother. The Conqueror Nation salutes you. And to you, I say CONQUEROR.
No doubt, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Conqueror Nation, our featured conqueror was Olaniyi Sobomehin, who played college football at Oregon State University and Portland State University before signing up with the New Orleans Saints. Nii Sobo brought some serious firepower to this conversation. He shared insight into the mindset that it takes to succeed in the NFL, in marriage, and as an entrepreneur. He also discussed the importance of mental imagery, visualization, meditation, and his number one strategy for affirmation training that blew me away. I will be adapting his prime time and morning mastery into my routine and suggest you do the same after listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this session, please let us know over on Twitter or over at the blog. As always, everything we talked about today, all the links to the resources can be found at this session's show notes at conquerormanhood.com. If you're new to the show, link up with me on all our social media sites where we engage on the daily to help bring up each other to conquer every facet of our lives. For those in the Conqueror Nation, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining. Please share this with your network. And until next time, conquer all.
Thank you for listening to Conquering Manhood. Now, it is time for you to conquer all. So take action. Head to conqueringmanhood.com and grab the 4 steps to conquering manhood, the ultimate guide, for free.